Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a new America's Got Talent discussion. Now, we are a little ways away from the judge cuts, let alone actual live shows, whatever in the world they're going to do with those.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to rhyme there, but hey, it happens. But what we want to do today is we don't want you guys to forget about the golden buzzers because they're an important part of the show. They can be irritating in that they always kind of go to the same sort of acts time and time again, but there are legitimately talented people who have them this year.
Yeah, and they do kind of get forgotten. I mean, getting a golden buzzer is great in a lot of ways because you do get to skip over a little bit of it, but at the same time, it makes it harder to kind of build up that momentum because you do kind of get forgotten.
We wanna do our best to lend these contestants a hand and rank them and try to get them more. Who are you the most excited about? Who are we the most excited about? Who is the best of the best? I should point out, these are just our opinions. We're not trying to make bold proclamations as to what the rest of America is going to do because I don't think we can accurately predict at this point what's going to happen in America 24 hours from now, so trying to predict what America's going to do weeks from now seems silly.
Yeah, this is just who we would like to see or how we would rank them, not actually who we think may actually take that top spot.
Alright, well, before we get too much into it, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We are going to have more AGT stuff coming, even if they're on kind of like a weird sort of hiatus. We are not done.
Okay, so we're going to start with our number 5 spot, and it actually kind of hurts my heart to have Christina Ray here, but she is. And part of the reason that she's there, for me at least, is that she had to perform more than once. And while she did a really good job with hitting some of those notes in Gimme Shelter that many people cannot hit, the fact that she had to perform more than once and that it was kind of a problem with the first song choice and stuff like that makes it harder for me to have her higher on this list because she almost had to audition twice.
I really feel like she's talented, and she showed that obviously with Gimme Shelter.
Yeah.
My concern, because she had to go twice, was, okay, what if she doesn't pick the right song again? And what if because her voice is so specific, and I think it's going to work for very particular sorts of music, and there are so many singers that are on this season, and there are a lot of good singers, and I think the reason why you and I are in agreement on a lot of the people golden buzzer-wise this season is just because you can sort of see what the competition is. I think originality is going to matter a lot. I think individual selection is going to matter a lot. I fear Christina's going to get kind of sort of lost a little bit in the shuffle once you get a week or two into the live shows.
Not only are there a lot of singers, there are a lot of kid singers on AGT. And kid singers typically already have more votes than adult singers. It just is the way it is with this voting audience. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah.
So going into number 4, we have Voices of Our City Choir, who I think are also really fabulous, and I'm glad that they're here. It's just, again, it's a bit harder for them because they are a group of singers, and not only are they then going up against solitary singers where people can get more invested in them and invested in their story too, they're also up against kid singers, which is the hardest group of people to beat. The cool thing about Voices of Our City Choir is that they have a very strong story behind them, on top of having a really nice voice and original song.
I thought their audition was really cool. I like how they were very unique. They didn't sound like any other choir that I've heard.
Cool.
I don't know how they replicate that moving into other performances. I have a lot of reservations about these sort of big group acts in general right now. I mean, it's the same thing with Waffle Crew, where we're in a very different era than we were back when these people all auditioned for the show. Like, how much real, tangible rehearsal time are they getting right now, to be honest? Like, I don't know if they're going to be rusty, if there's going to be a lot of challenges with all of that when they're actually sort of able to reconvene, even if they're able to properly reconvene. So I'm worried about how all that's going to work out for them. I like them. I want to root for them. But choirs also don't really ever win this show. They can get close. So, I mean, that's still lingering somewhere in the back of my head.
Okay, so number 3 we have Waffle Crew, who we both really like a lot.
I love waffles.
Yeah, and I love this crew. I think they're really cool. I just like that they were kind of bringing in a new style of dance that I'd never really seen before. Sort of this, I think they called it like a light foot or a light step, which is really neat. I mean, it's not something I've really ever seen before. They are really cool, and they deserve the golden buzzer. I'm glad they're here.
Yeah, I love that they're here. I think they're going to have a lot of really fun stuff. I've seen a lot of the stuff that they've done online. They are very, very versatile. They're not going to just do stuff like their original audition all the time. And I still have the same concerns about them that I do with Voices of Our City, but I also just think that Simon's Golden Buzzer in particular, there is kind of like this mythos around it where there's this extra amount of weight because it's Simon and everybody talks about Simon all the time, and this is why we've been subjected to dancing stormtroopers on like multiple seasons across different shows. So
Waffle Crew is nothing like
they're
them.
much better than
they
that.
They are so much better.
But I think that golden buzzer from Simon goes a long way with a lot of people. It doesn't really impact where I have them personally here. Like, they are number 3 for me because I think they're very, very good. But I think that the number 2 and number 1 just have a little bit something more with me, and I think there's something that makes me feel like they're have that higher potential to like get atop the pedestal at the end of the season.
So number 1 and number 2 for me, and I can't speak for you, but for me, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Yeah. They're both kind of interchangeable for me because I have a super soft spot for both of them. That's just very personal to me. So at number 2, we have Roberta, and I'm probably going to butcher her last name, so I'm not going to say it unless you know how to say it.
I think it's Battaglia.
All right, Battaglia.
Yeah.
She's from Toronto. I'm from Toronto. She has a Morkie. I have a Morkie. And she's got a beautiful voice. She's a kid singer. So I think she's got a really high ceiling on this. And she's just so likable. Her voice is gorgeous. She has a beautiful story. I mean, I just have such a super soft spot for her.
I get it, and I understand it, and I will say for me, Roberta's a more clear number 2 than probably for you, and that's mostly just because of my own bias, for poets. But
yeah, it's the that's what I'm saying. They're kind of interchangeable for us because we both have super soft spots for poets.
Yeah.
We're both, I'm from Toronto. We lived in Toronto. We both have the Morkie. It's all just sort of like, yeah, it's hard.
It's really tough to kind of separate, though. I think Roberta is incredibly talented. I think she brings a lot to the table. I think she can do a lot of different sorts of songs. Yeah. I think that she is going to have a huge contingent behind her. I think if we were saying, okay, which one of these 5 is most likely to be there in like the top 2 at the end of the season, I think it's probably Roberta. I think Roberta's probably the most actual likely person to win this season out of the Golden Buzzers, and I don't honestly even think it's close.
And then we have Brandon, who we just love. He's super, super talented. And I love that he's bringing poetry to the mainstream. And he's talking about things that are really personal to him. And I mean, poetry, a lot of people will just turn their nose up to and just be kind of like, oh, it's just rhymey or it's old-timey English sounding and I don't get it and I don't understand. And he makes it so relatable. He's talking about things that we've all gone through. Losing somebody is something that everyone has dealt with. So he's reaching a much bigger audience with something that not everybody is into. And I love that. I
really tried to put a lot of thought. I was like, okay, I know I'm biased towards poets because I am one, but also I'm biased towards originality. I want to see things on AGT that I have not seen before, and it's just, honest to goodness, I'm more excited for what Brandon is going to do next than anyone else out of the Golden Buzzers, because it's sort of like, okay, well, I know Christina's going to do something that's probably going to have maybe a little bit of rock in it, that'll show up her voice. Roberta may very well do something that's big and powerful. It's like, I know Brandon will probably do some sort of emotional spoken word poem, but I don't know what it's going to be about. I don't know what the message of it's going to be. I don't know what the performance of it is going to be like. I don't know how America's going to respond to it. I'm just so innately curious about him, and I was so touched by what he did, and I think how important it is for people to not just think of poetry as boring or sing-songy or cheesy, and he's already done a lot for this craft that for me, I can't have him anywhere other than #1, or my conscience will devour me alive.
No, I agree. I think he is #1, and I really hope that America opens themselves up to him because he is very different. He is bringing a craft to the stage, has never been brought to the stage before, and he's bringing it in this really beautiful, relatable way that I really want to see him continue on forward on this. This is meant for him.
We'll see what happens when the live shows actually begin and however form that they do begin, but for now, let's hear from you guys. Give us your Golden Buzzer rankings. We don't care if you agree, disagree with us. We want to know them. We want to know why. And if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us. Check that link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.